Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our webinar series. Good morning to you in Americas and good evening for those dialing from Asia. Today we will continue our webinar series and we'll have the pleasure of having Mr. Les Khan with us, the head of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, who will be answering our Q&A. But before that, I would like to do a short presentation about Rift Trust, part of the Latitude Group, before we dive into the discussions. So who we are? We are a global group with 14 offices around the world. Rift Trust is headquartered in Dubai. From here, we cover the Middle East, Africa, part of Asia, and Russia and the CIS country. We have 80 colleagues around the world, 40 in Dubai. We have offices in Americas, in Europe, here, and also into Asia. We opened last month our China office in Hong Kong and Shanghai. So we've assisted more than 1,000 people since 2013 in getting citizenship and residency. So not only we are marketing this product from a B2C point of view, but we are also advising government to implement these programs like we did in Malta, Montenegro, in Anguilla, and others. Also, we are one of the very few companies that is international marketing agent in all of the citizenship and residency by investment programs. And we are the Investment Migration Council Representative Office in the Caribbean. So it's one of the governing bodies for our industry. We'd like also to welcome our B2B partner who chose to work with us, and we're happy to have you here also today. In terms of the main motivation, if you are registered, it means like you have an interest in our programs. The first one is the mobility, being able to travel freely, hence our motto of Hello Freedom. But there are also other reasons. I will not list them all, but it goes from security to a plan B, to education for the kids, to a business setup, and growing more and more into retirement that we will see with some of the golden visa and also tax planning that we have into tax residency. Today we'll be focusing on the citizenship part. So there are three main propositions. So citizenship by investment, what is it? It's second passport, and there's a range of countries offering that in the Caribbean, in Europe, and also in the Pacific. So St. Kitts is one of them in the Caribbean. We have Malta, Cyprus was one of them, Montenegro, and we have Vanuatu, for example. Residency by investment is a golden visa scheme. And finally, but we'll not talk about this today, it's tax residency. Let's get into the details of St. Kitts and Nevis, which is the platinum brand, as they call it in St. Kitts. It's obviously the eldest program. It gives you access to 156 countries plus one, so 157. It's a Commonwealth country. It gives you access to the EU, UK, EU Schengen, UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, and there are growing list of countries that have been discussed. So we'll have the opportunity to have also an update with Les Khan regarding the new visa-free countries. And it's a vertical inclusion, so it's husband, wife, the kids can be included, and also the parents of the main applicant. There's been some updates recently where siblings of the main applicant, if they are financially dependent and below 30, can be included. So that has been a great addition, and we'll have the opportunity to hear from Les about this update. Let's go in terms of the two options. So there's what we call a donation part, and the price has been reduced recently for family of four, and so Mr. Khan will also give us an update about the new pricing. The second option is a real estate investment, which can be resold after 7 years, and there's also a commercial arrangement that can be done between a real estate developer and a private client that will lower the investment amount of the real estate, but obviously without holding the investment part. But this one, again, it's going to be a loan arrangement between a real estate developer and the client. And I'm sure a lot of you want to hear about the from Mr. Lescan, and we'll have the opportunity to ask him all of the questions. So in terms of the process, it's a very quick process, one of the fastest, I would say, in terms of citizenship, less than 5 months from the signing to receiving your passport. Obviously, on our side, our obligation toward you is to make sure that we'll do the due diligence, and then we'll guide you through all the process, to filling the forms, to gathering all of the document. It's a seamless process, and our team will help you from A to Z upon receiving the citizenship, and will be delivered to you. And then it doesn't stop there. We also have all of the, I would say, the value-added services and the aftercare that for our clients. So now, having seen an update about the company, about our company, our group, and also St. Kitts and Nevis program, now we'll be welcoming Mr. Lescan to our discussions. And we know he has a very busy schedule, and I would like to thank him for joining us today. So I will now invite Mr. Lescan to our webinar and introduce him. Thank you very much, and let's have Mr. Khan in. Okay, so welcome, Les. So join us. It's 9 a.m. in St. Kitts for you. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning, and it's a great pleasure to have you, Mr. Lescan, the head of Citizenship by Investment Unit. Welcome to our webinar.
Well, thank you, Mamoun. It's always a pleasure to represent St. Kitts and Nevis with all of our agents, and specifically with RIF, one of our better relationships that we have in the region. It's good to talk about St. Kitts and Nevis, which is a platinum brand, as you know. St. Kitts and Nevis being the oldest program in the world since 1984, and one that has been the source and the generator of all of the programs in the Caribbean and elsewhere. St. Kitts and Nevis has evolved its program over the last number of years, and we have made it a platinum brand by a number of factors. One is our pricing. Our pricing is generally above the other programs in the Caribbean. In our fund, for example, it's $150,000 for a single applicant as we speak. And we were the first to introduce title, property, and shares as part of our innovation in the program. Now other countries are offering share options, be it in any of the other regions. The other aspect for St. Kitts and Nevis being the platinum brand is our efficiency. Again, over the years, we've been able to capitalize on our technology. We were the first program to implement an automated system, 24/7, that allows our service providers to put applications into our unit as quickly as possible on a 24/7 basis. This has expedited our process and has allowed us to be the only program in the Caribbean to offer an accelerated application process. So we do that. We guarantee that through this application process, you can get approval within 40 to 60 days, and we generally hold to it. We are also the platinum brand in due diligence and in terms of the quality of applications that we have coming into the country. We ensure through various mechanisms, those that Mamoun mentioned with DDIQ and so on, that the client is first vetted before they come to us. So that eliminates a lot of the hassles that we might have had in the past, and it gives us a comfort feeling that the actual KYC, the knowing your client process, is being performed by our agents. we continue to also be the platinum brand because we were the only country in the region to have 5 branded hotels. So our real estate offering is one that is a very solid one through the 4 Seasons, the Marriott Hotel, the Ramada Hotel, the Koi Hotel, the Wyndham Hotel with Chiloft. These are just a few of the hotels that we have, together with some boutique hotels like the Hamilton Beach Resorts. That's a boutique hotel. So we also have a product that is a commercial real estate product. And again, the variety of products that we offer in our real estate arena is one that is not handled or supported or provided by any of the other regions. So we give our clients the best options to invest in what they think their interests would be. So again, that's in a nutshell to say that St. Kitts and Nevis is the platinum brand, and that, with continued stability, political stability and economic stability and growth in the country, we expect that St. Kitts and Nevis will continue to lead in the area of citizenship by investment. And the one final point that I have to make, 156 countries visa-free. This is very important.
Yeah.
Right? 156 countries. We lead in the Caribbean, next to Barbados, which is not a CBI country. And we would surpass Barbados, I would expect, within a couple of months. So being number 1 in all the CBI programs in terms of visa-free access is something that, again, puts us ahead of the others and ensures that our brand, the platinum brand, is one that continues to survive and offer the clients the best option in citizenship.
Thank you so much. Les, I was very impatient to ask you questions because, you covered quite a lot, and I'm sure, because, unfortunately this year we could not come and visit you in St. Kitts. So, and I'm sure a lot of the listener also would be interested to know about the update. So let's talk first about the update. You mentioned about the pricing. So if you can give us the reason, first about the update about the pricing, update about like the siblings, and also update about like the COVID and how it affected like the the program, the CIU, and all of that. If you can give us like the fresh news, I would say.
Okay, so just talking about some of the latest regulations that we've had and the amendments that we've had to our program. One of those that I know your clients will be most interested in is the addition of siblings. So about a month ago, we passed regulations that allow an applicant or the spouse of the applicant to add a sibling, a brother or a sister. And this allows the individual, as long as the sibling is up to the age of 30, unmarried, and no children, and a dependent of the main applicant. This allows us to focus on the expanded families that we see coming into the program and needing to be part of the program. We understand in certain parts of the world, it's always about a family. And this was our response to ensuring that the family members, be it siblings, are added to the program. We already have in our program the ability to add the grandparents, all right, as part of our existing program. So just to give you an idea of the pricing on the siblings, if a client is investing in the contribution of our fund, then it will be 20,000 plus 20,000 for that sibling. If they're adding it via a real estate option, then it's plus 40,000. Okay. So this is one of the changes that we made most recently. All right. We've also done regulations, and we're about to implement an escrow bill, an expansion of our escrow bill. In fact, St. Kitts and Nevis is the only country in the region that has an escrow bill. and it's intended to protect our clients. But it's also intended to ensure that when our clients invest in a product, that a real estate product, that product is built. So in the next few days or months, we will be implementing a payout schedule where developers must ensure that construction reaches a certain level before the funds are released out of escrow. And again, this is intended twofold. One, to ensure that the client's investment is a solid one and it delivers what the developer said he was going to deliver. And the second part is from a government's perspective to make sure that the client, that the developer completes the construction that he said he was going to complete. So we're enhancing on this, and this just reinforces, the steps that the current government is taking to ensure the Platinum brand, to ensure that the Citizenship by Investment program is one that remains robust and transparent.
Yeah. Now we have a lot of questions coming in, obviously, regarding thanks for the sibling and also, but while you're talking about the escrow, if, we talk about the loan arrangement, we have some questions for clients. And so if you can elaborate on this loan arrangement, and depending on the agent, how is it called? It's, would like, obviously it's something that our clients wants to hear and hear from you.
Okay, so I would like to emphasize that the government only has two products in real estate. One is a share at 200,000 or a shared title at 200,000 or a full title at 400,000. That is the government's price. Any other pricing that might be offered to a client is a commercial arrangement between the developer and the client. So to meet the government's objectives, you must have a purchase and sale agreement for the face value, 200,000 or 400,000. You must have an escrow agreement for 200 or 400,000. And before the client can get the certificate of registration, 200 or 400,000 must be put into escrow.
Yes.
All right. And once the unit is assured, and again, this is by law, right? Once the unit is assured that the funds have been put in escrow, be it by the client or the developer, all right, then the client will get his or her certificate of registration.
Okay. Yeah, just to basically, like the real estate developer putting that escrow, that's very important. To your eyes, you need to have that escrow agreement with the developer, and then this is where after you release the
certificate of registration. It's important to note that the commercial terms are not part of the government's mandate. It's separate. It's as long as they have met the government's requirements of 200,000 and 400,000.
No,
and I will just reiterate one point. I know that RIF and Latitude have been a very good agent for us and have not deviated from the government's mandate. But one of the things I would mention, because your audience is wide, is that if there are agents or individuals advertising prices that are not the 200 or 400,000, then they are deviating from the government's mandate, and they could be blacklisted.
No, definitely. That's clear. For us, we are an international marketing agent for the past few years, and obviously we've been one of the sponsors of the Investment Summit, where it was nice to meet you last year and the year before. And obviously we always follow the recommendation of the Citizenship by Investment unit, and definitely there's been some pricing that in the market that obviously are I would say abnormal, and we've seen that you've been blacklisting some agent in certain jurisdictions. So that's good that the CIU is taking these steps. In terms of if we move to the COVID, how has the COVID affected you? In terms of like the process, in terms of applying in terms of the documents? If you can give us, if there's been some flexibility by the CIU in terms of documentation.
Yes. So COVID-19 has obviously had an impact around the world. And in a lot of jurisdictions, there were certain government offices and so on that were closed down. And up to today, I believe getting documents from certain government agencies is a task. And we have tried to accommodate those types of issues. And what we did is basically twofold. We said the agent, the service provider can submit just some key documents to get the application going. The C1 form, the birth certificate, the marriage certificate. We don't need a police report right away. All the other documents could come afterwards, but we needed to start the process. We needed the documents that we can go to due diligence, and the due diligence will, basically requires the C1 form completed, and like I said, birth certificates, copies of passports, and a confirmation of place of residence. With that information, we can start the due diligence process. What we have also said is that we will not approve a file until we've gotten all the other documents. So it's up to the agent, the local service provider, to ensure that over a period of time, technically, we're giving you an extra 3 months to submit all of the documents before we sign off on it, because we are doing all of our processes in the interim. So COVID has forced us to be flexible. The unit itself was treated as an essential service, is treated as an essential service. So the team here at the Citizenship and Investment Unit have worked nonstop, have ensured that the files are moving. And I am sure you can attest to the speedy response that we've been given, the acknowledgement letters that we've been giving, all within record time. So our process has been very efficient and has not taken on in terms of offices closed down and so forth. So we are really there. One of the other things that COVID has done for us and for the clients is that it forced us to also look and recognize that during the COVID period, it was essential for a lot of clients, a lot of individuals to get to their families, to get to where their kids might be going to school, or the parents might be working, or the grandparents might be, or in a safer environment. And recognizing that, we then decided to launch our limited time offer. And our limited time offer on our fund was really a reduction of about $45,000 for a family of 4. So under the previous SGF, it was $150,000 for the main applicant, and then for the spouse, and then 10 and 10 for the dependents, adding up to about $195,000. With the limited time offer, which is good until the 15th of January next year, it's $150,000 for the family of 4. So this is one of the things that we responded to in the COVID environment, recognizing that more families needed to be with their loved ones and to be able to get a second passport or a second citizenship, to be able to be where they think they should be at such a crucial time.
Okay, no, that's good. I think because I'd like to understand, obviously, in our business, we have the B2C, which is like the main audience of this, I would say, of this webinar. And I'd like to focus a couple of questions before that regarding the siblings. Can it be retroactive, the siblings, or not? I mean, the decision.
No,
we have such country.
Unfortunately, when Cabinet met to discuss the siblings proposal that I gave, it was basically decided that it will only be for new files going forward and not retroactive.
Okay. So this is for our B2C client, and obviously today also we have our B2B partners, because obviously as a company we grow to what we call a B2B model, where we're catering to real estate developer, to insurance companies, to other I would say industry that wants to come in this business, in this lucrative business that is booming. You know, so in terms of B2B, because right now it's growing. I mean, what kind of I would say, you know, what could you say to this company that wants to come in this business? And I mean, if I may, what you've seen from us and how we've been handling the B2B relationship. I know it's something that obviously it's more for us to say, but I'd like to hear your point of view, if you see that is a growing trend, and if you see other, I would say, companies coming into this industry.
Well, I would say one thing, a couple of things actually, and the most important thing is that I've recognized that regardless of where you are, whether you're in China or in the Middle East or even Russia, the citizenship by investment programs and business is one about relationships and getting to know the clients and know who is coming in has been one of the most beneficial things that any of our agents, be it RIF and Latitude, and any sub-agents that you may have. It's very, very important that those relationships continue to expand. And you can't be everywhere, in every place, going after the clients. However, I must say that as an international marketing agent, the international marketing agent has certain standards to maintain and criteria to meet because of the terms of engagement that we have from, my unit. So it's important to note that any other sub-agent or B2B client that you might be working with, that they have to adhere to the same criteria that you are adhering to and the terms of engagement.
No, it's completely right. I mean, I'm glad that you're saying that, Mr. Les. And just talking about that is, for example, if you can, like enlighten us about the Iraq, for example, of the birth certificate. We've seen some challenges, I will see, with some market, and for example, with Iraq. So if you can update us, please.
All right. So we know that in Iraq, up until about 10 years ago, any newborn would probably get a birth certificate. But prior to that, a lot of people lost their birth certificates and so on. So the Iraqi national ID has become basically an accepted form of birth certificates. As a unit, the CBI unit here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we recognize this. And we have accepted those birth certificates in order to process the application. However, most recently, and I say only most recently, our passport office has been looking at their internal policies. And it was last week that I met with the Permanent Secretary of National Security, the Prime Minister, the Cabinet Secretary, and we discussed at length not only the Iraqi situation, but a number of other situations where birth certificates are not necessarily available due to the wars, due to different situations. You look in Nigeria, you have the Bureau of Population, I think, issues a birth certificate, and not a birth certificate, a record of birth, and that may not be accepted by our passport office. So we've had a hiccup with our passport office over the last month or so, where they've held back a number of passports because they wanted clarification on the birth certificate issue. And at the meeting last week, first of all, we agreed to release all the passports that were being held. So those will be released, all right, and go through. And in the meantime, the permanent secretary and myself are writing an internal policy on all the various countries that could have exceptions and what the exceptions are and how it's supported. Because a lot of what we see from the unit, we know that the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada, for example, accepts, you know, a national ID from Iraq and other documents. The same thing with the Department of Justice in the US. They accept some of these documents. So we're using all of these materials to come up with a policy that is going to be acceptable to the government, to the National Security Department, and I would expect that within a month, so, or less. I'm actually trying to get it done within the next week. Hopefully we can. And I can say that there is no scam, because I'm hearing this in the Iraqi market. You know, there are people out there who are trying to defame the St. Kitts and Nevis program because of this. And I have to say, yes, we are accepting the birth certificate. The national ID is a birth certificate for the unit. And we're working with the passport office, who will now move ahead and issue the passports. So there is no scam. What we had to do was get our policy in line. And there was a delay in getting this released. So for clients who might think that our agents might be leading them in a wrong direction, I have to say that's not the case. It is something bureaucratic within the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we've sorted that out, and we're getting it through.
No, definitely. I mean, it's, and we know, I mean, birth certificate has been something, and you've been very, I would say, listening and accommodating to the different situation. And obviously, always, this is like, I would say, the flexibility of the Citizenship by Investment Unit in St. Kitts. We can recognize that. We'd love to ask you more questions. I think it's last 5 minutes, and obviously, you know, after the B2C, the B2B now in terms of GOVAT, because obviously, not only, as we mentioned, we are marketing this the programs, but we're also advising governments. So there are a couple of questions that I received also from my colleague and the other, I would say, peers in the industry. What are your top 10 nationalities? If you can give us an update also about the number of applications that you have, real estate versus donation, the number of rejection also. I know it's a lot of questions, but if you can give us that point of view from, I would say, the CIU, and I will ask you last questions after.
Okay, so as a government, we don't publish any numbers, and everyone knows this. Everybody keeps asking me the questions, and I keep responding back. However,
come on, let's give us something. You know, like, was it a good year, 2020?
However, I can safely say that about 55% of our applications come from China. And the main reason for that is because we have 2 or 3 major projects that are Chinese construction companies who do their own marketing into China, and that's a huge market. So you can imagine the volume that we get from there. The rest of our applications, I would say, you know, about 40% will come from the Middle East, and we see it mainly in Iraq. Iraq has taken up a lot in the last little while. Lebanon, Libya, Syria. Obviously, people living in the UAE from those regions, and the next 5% would basically come out of you know, Europe and Russia. We lost a lot of the Russian market. We were very prominent in the Russian market back in 2014 or so. But once you had Malta and Cyprus and those programs there, that the Russian market evolved into there. But we're beginning to see an uptick in that again. So I am expecting, especially after the issues with Malta and Cyprus, you know, we're beginning to see some movement back into St. Kitts and Nevis. So that gives you an idea of where the applications are coming from, the percentage of applications out there. In terms of product-wise, Because of the type of options that are granted by the developers, we're seeing a large number of real estate type applications. And again, to reassure everyone, this does not mean to say that the country is losing money. I've heard it said by certain people out there in the market that because of discounting or different options, commercial arrangements, that the country is losing money. That is not true, because these developers, although they might be taking less, they are constructing, and the government is achieving its objectives through fees and otherwise. All right. On the other side, we have the fund, and the fund is increasing also. When we announce a thing like the limited time offer, what happens? It brings more clients to the table. All right. And you as agents, be it the B2B or yourself, try to convince the clients to go where you make the most money. And what fits the client's mandate. All right. So from my perspective, if you know, that's okay. Whatever the client wants, his objective. All right. So we see right now about 80% of our volume coming out of our real estate portfolio, and maybe another 20% increasing into the fund. Having said all of that, you know, St. Kitts and Nevis, being the platinum brand, continues to be the leader in applications, and we know this. You know, we know what our due diligence companies are doing. We know what our competition is doing. So, you know, there is strong interest in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the products that we have, whether in the real estate or in the fund, and this basically reinforces the value that clients put into our program.
No, definitely. I mean, if I just to echo on what you're saying, I mean, the real estate offering has been amazing, and it's you know, obviously in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we've seen that improvement in the quality. I mean, Park Hyatt being one of them, the Cove, Hamilton, as you mentioned, the Four Seasons. So it's great to see that, you know, again, I think St. Kitts is very competitive, and you've been doing an amazing job in terms of always keeping on the toes and watching at the market. So that's and I remember like the discussion that we had in our offices here about, you know, we as an industry, we need to watch what our competitor is doing, and you clearly, this is one of your motto, is always watching what's out there. So it's always refreshing and great to have the discussion with you. I mean, we have many questions that after obviously I will answer, but last two, I mean, in terms, if you can give us like the update, you mentioned 156, we did 157 in our presentation. Maybe we were anticipating the new, I would say, countries that are coming, and also if you can give us, obviously here in Dubai you have the consul. Here in the UAE, you have one in Rabat, which is covering all of, you would say, North Africa and Africa. If you can give us like, you know, what's coming as a, I would say, as a citizen of St. Kitts. I mean, being a Kittitian, obviously an economic citizen, it's a very important state. But if you can also give us like all the extra and through. I mean, I don't want to talk too much. I will answer these questions. Two more questions. We have more, but we don't have many opportunities to talk, but I still want to continue that. But now the floor to you, Les.
So what is happening, you know, for our citizens around the world? Obviously, in the Middle East, we're looking at opening the embassy. We're waiting on approval to open the embassy in Abu Dhabi. We have the honorary consul in Dubai, and those, especially the one in Dubai at the moment, is really a great tool that our clients can use, you know, to get passports renewed or to get birth you know, to get newborns added on and so forth. So they are very supportive in the whole process. We we in the Middle East, I mean, in Morocco, obviously there is the ambassador, Ian Quilly, who is representative of the OECS, which is all the countries in you know, Dominica, St. Kitts, Antigua, Grenada, St. Lucia. And they are looking to expand and understand where clients are coming from and so on. As we look at new markets, you know, you look at Nigeria, for example, and then you look at Cambodia and Vietnam. These are markets that are relatively new. And, you know, from a B2B perspective, I would say that, you know, I welcome you to expand in those markets, because we will support you as much as we can to go out there. Actually, this afternoon, we were supposed to have, the Prime Minister and I were supposed to have an interview with the Times of India. And that got postponed because we had Parliament yesterday, and I think it's running over today. So we'll reschedule that. But we've been doing a lot of interviews, the Prime Minister and I, you know, to let people be aware of what the country is doing and where we're going. But one of the things that I have to say, again, now focusing on clients, we would like our clients not to just think of St. Kitts and Nevis as a passport. We want them to think about it as a home too, and where there is an opportunity for them to contribute to the growth of the economy in more than just the investment that they've done. And I know you provide additional services. Obviously, when COVID gets relaxed a little, we hope to see a lot more people in St. Kitts and Nevis. I welcome the opportunity to meet clients and citizens, and so does Justin, our honorary consul in Dubai. So we're always welcoming, and we want our clients to understand that.
No, definitely. I mean, just to emphasize on what you're saying, and this has been also our philosophy in addition to all of the segments that we mentioned. We have the Reef Club, and as you mentioned, this is value-added services we provide our client, utility bill, driving license, and all of that. The nexus with the country is very important, and this is what we've been promoting also. It's you know, to discover your country, and in addition to that, we also have the wealth advisory, and you know, which means also ties with the country in terms of banking, incorporating a company. That's very important. So this is just reiterating that. The last two questions really, because you know, again, we could talk for hours, but I want to make it short, just keeping the constraint. First is, what's your projection for 2021? I mean, you mentioned, obviously, I mean, for us here is going to be Expo 2021. So we're looking forward to not only to welcome you, to welcome the PM, Mr. Harris, His Excellency, and obviously the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Brantley. Please send their regards. And as you mentioned, we have Mr. Hawley here in Dubai. But if you can give us your projection for 2021, and also where you see the industry going globally. Obviously, you are a great expert in this, and what are the trends that you are seeing?
Well, I think as the number of high net worth individuals increases, and with this increase in numerous countries, and the need and the recognition after COVID that a client needs to have that flexibility, that ability to be global, the true sense of global, you know, to do business, to be with their family when they want to be, where their kids are studying, to be able to relocate as needed. We'll continue to see an increase, and even at the onset of COVID, we saw an uptick in our volume because of that, and so I expect that this will continue. We're seeing it out of China. We're seeing it obviously in the Middle East. So I believe the programs are there for a while. But we're always under stress. I mean, we're under stress by the OECD, all right, and the EU in terms of anti-money laundering and so forth, and taxes. So the one point I would make at this point is, remember that St. Kitts and Nevis does not offer a tax residency program as we speak. But it's something that we're always looking at. We try to adhere to the regulations and the mandates put out by FATCA and others. So we are always ensuring that the Platinum brand is maintained and that we are doing what we can do to assure our international partners that this is a solid program, that there is no, there are no people coming into our program that are not of credible character. And this goes by the strength of our due diligence, be it through international law enforcement and through our own due diligence. I cannot stress enough that, you know, our process is really robust, and we do emphasize a lot in those two areas. So we'll continue to do our what we need to do in terms of ensuring that the right candidates come into our program, but we're seeing an increase and we're seeing the demand for it. And the demand is coming in also in the terms of the quality of product. And we're ensuring that we have the quality of product. I had mentioned, you mentioned the Park Hyatt, which obviously is one of the first hotels that completed under the CBI program. COVID has put a slowdown on a couple other projects, which we'll see opening in 2021, so that's good. An expansion of those projects in other areas. We have some new projects that are really scheduled to come in, and again, that will expand in terms of the volume of applications that we will be having. We are always trying to ensure that the program maintains its status and the quality. So we will be looking at ways to improve this. We'll be looking at ways to add new products. St. Kitts and Nevis has been recognized as the most innovative of all the programs. But being innovative does not mean to say that we're just going to reduce our prices or we're just going to offer something that doesn't make sense. It has to tie into the mandate of the cabinet of the unity government, and it has to ensure that we achieve those objectives. There are some other stuff that will come out over the next months that I'm working on that it will be interesting. You'll be seeing some new stuff coming out.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Well, we could talk for longer, but I would like to thank you, Mr. Les Khan, for your insight today. Just before, I would say, end of 2020, we've seen some interesting development coming. So we're looking forward to see you wherever it's here, Dubai, or around the globe, be it in St. Kitts. Obviously, we are missing it, and we're looking forward to 2021 and coming to visit you and our dear friend in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in another part of the world. So I will let you the final comments, Mr. Les. But before that, again, I would like to, on behalf of our group here in Dubai, 40 staff here, the 80 globally, and the Latitude Group and the board, to thank you for your time, to send our regards to all the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the Prime Minister, to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to yourself and all of the consular, I would say, representative, that you are doing a fantastic job in terms of helping all of your Kittitian citizens. So final comments and final word for you, Les. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mamoon, for inviting me to be part of this webinar and to give the perspective of the St. Kitts and Nevis Platinum brand. We're always willing to work and establish our relationships with you and all of our other agents around the world. And we look forward to support you in your initiatives as you go forward and you sell your products and so forth. We want them coming to St. Kitts and Nevis. So the Platinum brand is what they need to recognize. And I look forward to supporting you, and the government will ensure that we deliver what we say we will deliver. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Les. Thank you. We'll take now some questions, but I will let you go because I know you have a busy day. Thank you very much, Les.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Les. It was great to have him and answer very important questions. But we have another Q&A session starting, so please leave your question in the Q&A tab, and I'll make sure to reply to them during this seminar, or me and my team will get back to you. So see that we received many questions already. So let's dive in. Yes, so first question is regarding the siblings and the cost. So the cost of adding siblings is $40,000 under the real estate options and $20,000 under the Sustainable Growth Fund. So these are this is the cost for adding the dependent siblings in the new law. Yeah, I mean, and another question that is related to the siblings: is there any age limit of eligibility? Yes, it has to be 30 or younger. Now, I keep that. There's another question related to the siblings, and asking for this one: can adopted siblings or step siblings be included in the application? Yes, they can be. And another one saying that, okay, how do we prove my siblings is financially dependent on me? Well, under the same roof, and also payments coming from the main applicant to the dependent siblings. So clearly we need to work, and we will make sure that to work with our advisor to prove the dependency. Yeah, another one, which is like, is Synckids the best program in the Caribbean? Well, it's been named the platinum brand, and it's the eldest program. Obviously, is one of the strongest program along with the other Caribbean, because it's also has it's the eldest. So I mean, after saying the best, the best can be different for many people. So our team, myself and our team, will make sure to find the suitable programs, be it Synckids or be it the other one that we are working with in the Caribbean, Europe, or Vanuatu. Another question regarding the process. How long does the process take? I would say, I like to put it in a I would say, don't want to oversell it. Some people are saying 3 months. We like to say below 6 months, but obviously Synckids, we've seen I would say an increase in handling the file. So 4 to 5 months from signing to receiving the passport is usually, I would say, the time frame. Once you get the approval, sometimes there's receiving about the certificate of registration, then after the citizenship, the passport printing, but usually below 6 months. Interesting question, because this one is expedited option worth the extra cost, because we have a fast track options in Synckids. I mean, obviously your file will be put under priority, and there's, from here in our office to the CIU, is flagged as a fast track. So obviously it has the attention of, I would say, the Citizenship by Investment Unit. And they will make sure that is a fast track, but obviously there are checks that cannot be fastened. So for me, it's good. I mean, it will probably fasten to say once, but is it off the price? And this is our job as an advisor. If you want to do it, but we will not push you towards this fast track options. Yeah, now we're receiving some of our questions also regarding the apostille document and the flexibility. I think this is probably from our B2B partners. Yeah, there's been some flexibility in terms of the documents, be it notarized, be it translated, the expiry of the documents, some of them from 3 to 6 months. So clearly the Citizenship by Investment Unit understand this, and they are flexible in the document. So now how long is the passport valid for? Yes, it's a 10 years passport. So that is there, and we've seen some of the future and some of the development that the Citizenship by Investment Unit is looking at. I will then questions regarding the visa-free country list, and can we expect the UAE to be in the visa-free country? Well, the consulate here in Dubai, and obviously the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is looking at all of these visa-free agreements, and there's been some talk. So hopefully we'll be able to have some good news soon. So now that we are already approaching I'll be answering a couple of more questions, but I would like to, because there's been many, so I will leave my details so you can also hold on. You can also leave us leave questions, and we can I can answer to them. Wait, sorry, just looking at it now. Excuse me, there's been this is some, yeah. So here is contact details where you can reach us, and my email. So if you have more questions, we already have many, we'll answer them. If not, one of our advisor will get back to you. So now in terms of, yeah, mentioned about like what we call the Reef Club. What kind of other services you're offering? Well, for us, it's important that you as a client, once you become a client, doesn't stop there, and we will make sure that we create the proper nexus and advising you in terms of driving license, in terms of opening a company, and all that you need as an economic citizen. So it's not only we are working hand in hand with also different entities on the ground to make sure that we offer the full spectrum of services that is required, be it banking services and all the others. Now, questions regarding education for the kids. What are the advantage for my kids being a Kititian? Obviously, you're a Commonwealth citizen. So in terms of the UK system, you are considered differently. And for example, there's no requirement for knowledge of the English language. And you as a parent and a Kititian, you can easily visit your children in the UK, sorry. So what are the other, now we have another, what are the other jurisdiction where we have representations? We have one in Morocco, in Rabat. It's OACS embassy that is representing all of the Caribbean countries, and from there they are also doing consulary services. And as we heard from Les, there will be more that will be open soon. Is there going to be a biometric passport? This is another question regarding the passport. This one we heard it from Les, but we will see what the development are brought into the biometric passport. Well, I think we are running. I mean, we want to, because some of you need to leave, so this is like the time that we have for the Q&A. But again, leave your questions and we'll be very happy to answer them, myself or the team, wherever we are in Europe, here in the Middle East, in Asia and Americas. Thank you for your time again. So it was a great insight into St. Kitts and Nevis program. Hope you find it useful. And well, I'd say looking forward to our next webinar series, and wishing you a good rest of the day and or evening. Thank you very much.